The campaign season is here, and your vote can make a difference. Comcast brings you the Candidates on Demand right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Candidates on Demand. I'm Robert Traynham. Joining us today is the Republican candidate for the 7th Congressional District in Maryland. That, of course, is Mike Hargadon. Welcome.
Thank you, Robert. I appreciate you having me on.
Not a problem. Let's start off with the first question, which would be, what distinguishes you between you and your candidacy and the other folks that are running for office this year?
Well, I think one of the key points is that I'm not a politician. I'm a dentist. I'm a practicing dentist for 25 years now. And I'm getting into politics now because I'm really concerned about the direction our country's going in terms of liberty and in terms of just politics as normal, as usual. And I think many of the American people have spoke when they give Congress a 9% approval rating. That's telling them something that they're not approving of the way things are going in D.C.
Is it safe to assume that you believe that the country is headed in the wrong direction, hence the reason why you announced your candidacy for the Congress?
That's exactly right. I couldn't say it better. Yes, in fact, that is why. I came out of the Ron Paul camp, so to speak. I'm a Mike Hargadon Republican, but as far as the principles that he stands for, as far as sound money, less federal government, individual liberties, these are things that excited me. In fact, kind of cured my apathy when I heard Ron Paul stand up and talk these issues. So I think of the two parties, the Republican Party speaks more in terms of those issues, and that's why I find myself as a Republican candidate.
If you were in the Congress today, right now, what would be the most significant and important piece of legislation that you would introduce on behalf of your constituents?
I think we have to deal with the Federal Reserve. I think the Federal Reserve is a private banking cartel, and they've been running this country for years and years and years, and they basically turn on the print machines when they want to, and the end result is inflation. And when they bail out a mortgage company, when they bail out Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, this is costing the American people, and it's costing them in the pocketbook. And then when you have politicians like Elijah Cummings, who is my opponent, and he takes $10,000 in contributions from Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, and then turns around and votes for the bailout, I mean, this is, in my terms, I'd call that conflict of interest. But in Congress, evidently, it's business as usual. And I think the American people are tired of this. They want to have a say in what's going on.
If you were sworn into Congress come January of next year, what would be the most important piece of policy legislation that you would like to tackle on day one?
Well, policy legislation, I have a couple of things immigration I think is key. I think our economy is being hurt by the way we just are not enforcing our immigration laws, and I think we're putting local governments at a disadvantage when the federal government doesn't enforce it, and they are responsible, and then they go ahead and they scrutinize local governments when they try to enforce it. I think it's unfair. But the economy is our big issue. I think Second Amendment. I think when the Heller case came down and Elijah Cummings says he was disappointed with that ruling, I mean, if we don't have a right to own a firearm in our own home, then we're in some serious problems as far as our liberties go.
If you were elected to the Congress, how will you balance the needs of your local constituents along with the needs, obviously, of being a federal legislator?
Well, I think the key thing is to get back to the Constitution. The powers are enumerated in the Constitution. What are the federal government's powers? The other powers, according to the 10th Amendment, are to be left to the states. And I think the federal government has gotten way too big. They've usurped so much power that they don't have. And I think the states have to stand up in their own right. But most issues like health care and like education, I think these are local issues, and the federal government would be best to just address that in those terms and say, if we want better health care, the states should do it. They should take that tax money, send it back to the state, and let the state enforce it.
What are three reasons why your prospective constituents should vote for you as opposed to your opponent?
Well, I'm not a politician, and I've taken a term limit pledge, so I'm not going to be making another profession out of this. I voted for no new taxes. I think the problem is not taxation; the problem is spending. The Congress doesn't know how to stop spending. I've been in business for 25 years, so I've balanced budgets. I've had to lay people off. These are real issues. So I'd like to do those, and I'd also deal with the immigration policy.
Well, thank you very much. Of course, that was Mike Hargadon, who is the Republican candidate who is running for the 7th Congressional District in Maryland. And, of course, this is Candidates on Demand. I'm Robert Traynham. Thanks for watching.